All right, my friends, let's make a podcast. Well, firstly, thank you for inviting me into this incredible place that you've been building. Your dad gave me the tour. The monkeys are howling, the whales are in the ocean, the cicadas are joining us. I think I already know the answer to this question, but why Uvita? What is special about this place? Tell the listener, invite the listener into what the Pura Vida lifestyle in Uvita looks like.
You want to start with that one?
Sure. I mean, in my opinion, it's honestly just an unbeatable way of life, being surrounded by nature like this. You have everything really in one place. There's an incredible community of people here. You're surrounded by nature every day. There's surfing, there's healthy food, there's good water to drink, there's sunshine all the time. And I mean, in my opinion, I just think it's the best place in the world to be. And so, yeah, that would kind of be my answer.
I feel that. And you grew up in Costa Rica, so I always wonder that, so often we don't appreciate where we live. For me, I grew up in England and I always wanted to run far away. I need to get far away. Do you experience that? Or because you were born in this, is it something that's just so in your nervous system that you love it? Is it just taken for granted, or is it still so special even though you grew up here?
Yeah, I think in life you go for different captures. So for sure, when I was growing up, I lived in a small city close to here. We consider countryside of Costa Rica. Yeah. But my dad has this brilliant idea to buy a land in Uvita 30 years ago. So as a kid, when you're growing up, you want to go outside the countryside, you want to see the city and, everything. But at some point in your life, when you travel and you learn, like I remember, I think I read this phrase about like you go out just to find yourself and come back, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it was like when I come back here, it was okay, this is what I have to be.
Yeah.
And that resonated with my life. Like, okay, this is my roots. So yeah, I'm really happy to be in here and living in the winter.
Yeah, it's a very special place. I have been feeling, I would call it like the Pura Vida nervous system. Like since I got here, I live in nature at home. And it's beautiful, but the jungle is so alive. Like as we're talking right now, there's birds flying by and just the sounds and the feels and the heat. It's something different. And I wonder if I think health is probably a lot easier here, not just because of the access to food, but because of the way of life. When you go travel, I know you just recently came back from travels, Charlie, and you go into the craziness of busy cities and airports, do you feel like a jarring? I always feel when I go to a city, it's like I can feel the anxiety. And when I come to a place like this, my nervous system is like, I'm home. Do you feel that when you travel a little bit? What was that recent experience like in Japan? What did you notice the parallels or the differences?
Oh my gosh, there's a crazy big difference between here and Japan. I mean, for most of the trip where I was in Japan, I was up in the mountains snowboarding. So I was in nature, but I was in the snow at high elevation, and it's a completely different type of nature. And then I spent a couple of days in Tokyo, but kind of going back to what you were talking about, like just being in, the biggest city in the world for a couple of days, I really felt it affecting my nervous system. And I was feeling way more tired, a little bit more stressed, just like everything was happening super fast, traveling through the airports and everything. And I've only been home for less than 24 hours, and I already feel myself kind of settling back into a calmer nervous system. Like, you can, even after so much craziness and such long travel, you start to relax so quickly here just within a couple of hours. It's a huge difference.
Yeah. And thank you for doing this on such a short entry back in, because you're dealing with travel stress and jet lag and all of that stuff. But again, even being in these environments, I think just relaxes you so much that it allows you to shake off the hangover, if you will, so much quicker.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm super stoked to be here, but I feel great. Honestly, I don't feel super jet lagged or anything. Kind of like what you're saying, like my nervous system feels really good. So,
okay. Well, we need a love story. We want to start this one with the love story. Tell me how you guys met. Where was it? Was it at the beach? Was it at the gym? What was going on?
Start with this one.
Yeah, it's funny because always we talk about it, like how we can have different story with the same thing. Like how your perspective changed. But I was surfing in Playa Hermosa. And, it's a lot of tourists here. So you never know who is next to you. If it's somebody just coming for holidays or someone to live in the area, right? So I saw Charlie and I was like, oh, hi. And I was just, like when you're in the ocean, just like waving something, but just sharing waves, but doesn't like, I didn't speak with her. But I was like going out the water. It's like, oh, she was beautiful, but I don't know if I'm going to see her again.
Yeah, right.
You met a lot of people there and you never said it's the last day in Costa Rica, bye, gone, Australia or something.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. And then I went like the next week, I went to surf again, and I saw her like going out the beach. Is like, oh, she was the girl like I saw last week. It's like, okay, cool, maybe she live here. And then like I would say a month later, a friends in common, like they do like a party, and I was there and Charli was there. It's like, oh, okay, no, so she live here.
Strike three, good.
Yeah. So I went there like, like trying to speak English to show I can speak English. It's like, hey, hello. And she was like speaking better Spanish than me. Like all these slam Costa Rica. It's like, okay, this is interesting. So we start talking, and I mean, long story short, like there was like that kind of connection since day one was like really nice. And I was like, okay, I really want to do this correct. And I think this is going to be a nice love story.
Yeah, the love story's unfolding. It's awesome. What is it like as an 11-year-old moving from the developed West, Texas, Colorado, all the places you've been, but as an 11-year-old, those a very interesting time of your life, right? You're figuring out who you are. What's it like to be early in the Uvita scene, like gringos, disconnected, and like uprooting your life? Was that difficult? Was it fun? Was it an adventure? What was it like?
Well, I loved it.
Okay.
It was like very positive for me. There wasn't any part of it that I ever was like unhappy with. With my really early upbringing, when I was in Texas, I grew up on a ranch. We had cattle. I was homeschooled. Wow. And so I was used to like not going to a regular school and being like around a bunch of people all the time. And so I think that helped with their transition as well. But when we moved here, we didn't just move here all at once, full time from the get-go. We started coming at like 3 months at a time, then going back to Texas for 3 months, and then we come here for like 6 months, and then go back to Texas for a couple months, and then kind of one day we woke up here, and I remember I asked my dad, I was like, "Do we live here?" And he was like, "Yeah, we live here," because we just eventually never really went back to Texas except for Christmas and a few other little trips, and so. Kind of doing it little by little like that, I think also helped the transition. But I remembered like it was yesterday, I was always in favor of living here. And I was always kind of waiting for him to say we lived here because I loved it. And my sister and I, we learned to surf. And I mean, we were in nature just the way we were as kids out on the Texas ranch. And this was like a big playground for us. It was kind of like the nature in Texas on steroids, like it was really fun and it was really positive. And I really loved growing up here too, and being able to learn another language and meet people from around the world and get exposed to different cultures and things. I really feel like shaped who I am as an adult. Yeah. It's very positive. And parents ask me that all the time, especially with young kids, how my experience was with that. And I would recommend it absolutely. Like moving us here, I think is the greatest thing my family ever did for us. Yeah. Yeah.
I've always felt, and I've said this a lot, when I took off to do a 4-year stint of travel and backpacking after I met my wife in 2013, I felt like I learned more about myself and about the world and about people in that 4-year span of travel than the preceding 23 years of my life up until that point. I did university and I had a lot of cool experiences and we traveled, but just that immersive, different culture, it teaches you so much. And were you homeschooled when you moved here too, or did you go to a school here?
I was homeschooled kind of off and on here. Yeah. I was homeschooled when we first moved here. And then a couple years later, they opened up an international school in Uvita. Cool. So we did that for a couple of years. But during that time is when I started getting really into competitive surfing. So I was traveling a lot with my family to the different surf contests, and we were doing the national tour. And so we were going around the country. So I was missing a lot of school. And so eventually we just went back to homeschooling. Yeah. Yeah.
A kid's dream, missing school to surf. Come on. Like, no, waves. Yes. See, let's go. It gives me, it fires me up because we're homeschooling our kids. And I think the plan is to always do that unless they want something different. But it's my hope. And I think that we'll create such a cool, immersive, educational environment for them that they'll never want to go to a normal school. And that's not to say that that's, what everybody has to do or should do. But it's another option, right? And I do think that it teaches you a whole different set of skills, like real life skills, communication, problem solving. But I really want to hammer into this surfing thing with you both because I know you both love it. I'm curious about what keeps people coming back to the ocean so much. I haven't had the blessing yet to live in a place where surf is always there for me. I can get out on my board in Tennessee and go surf. But everybody that I meet that moves to somewhere by the ocean, they have a hard time ever leaving the full time because it becomes a part of them. It sounds like you got into it really early. What is so special for you about surfing in the ocean?
I mean, I think the main reason that I've stuck with it all this time, and I see it as part of my future for the rest of my life. Like, I want to surf until I can't walk anymore one day. But I think that it's because it's a very unique sport because of the way that it connects you with nature, and connecting with nature connects you to yourself too. And you're out there in the ocean and you're like pretty surrendered to the elements. Like, sometimes you don't know what the conditions are going to be like. Sometimes it starts raining, sometimes it's sunny. Like, the waves change every day. It's also constantly changing. It's a different experience every single time you surf. You're never like, on the same court with the same ball and the same people, which that has its own special aspects to it. But with surfing, it's different every single day. Like, you never ride the same wave twice. And so that keeps like the exciting element to it. But I would say at the end of the day, it's the connection with nature that it gives you on like such a profound level.
Yeah. When did you start surfing?
No, I started surfing actually. The first time I get on the ocean was in 2020.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, nobody knows what is going to happen. We're going to die. What's going to
yeah.
So I remember at the end of COVID, because here was, all the restrictions stuff, but I was like, okay, I'm going to surf. So I'm going to die in the ocean at least. Not in my bed.
Yeah.
So I started going surfing, no experience, like just by myself. I have a friend like supposed to surf, but he wasn't that good. But it was fun, just practice and try to do something new. But I will say when I moved here 2 years ago, I started like surfing consistently, like every week. And yeah, I just fall in love. I remember the decision to move to Uvita was like 4 years ago. I was surfing in Playa Hermosa, and it's just like postcard picture. I was surfing. It was a perfect sunset. The macaws was flying. It was a rainbow. All the ocean and all the jungle is like, this is just so beautiful. And I don't know how many sunsets I have in my life. So for the rest, it's like, I'm going to try to be here as much as I can.
Yeah.
And that moment is when I take the decision. I call everybody, it's like, I'm going to move. I'm going to live in the city. I'm going to live at the beach, and I'm going to figure out. I don't know what is going to be my work, but I'm going to change my life, and I go there and see what happens.
Yeah.
That was the decision. So surf was that kind of little connection to bring me to take the decision to live here.
Yeah. You were pulled in, sucked in by the ocean. I've had a few of those moments here. We were out on the whale's tail, which I think you can see out there.
Yeah.
But I was looking back, and just a few pinch me moments about how breathtakingly beautiful it is here. And it's a reminder, and I guess as well, what's really cool about surfing is you can't take your phone in the ocean. It like forces you to disconnect, right? And we, in the health space, we talk so much about grounding and putting your bare feet on the grass. And it's become a bit of an insult now, even online. People are like, go touch grass, bro. Like, stop taking things so seriously. And the ocean is the epitome of grounding too. I'm sure you're aware of this, but it's the biggest sink of like these negative ions that your body charges up of as well. So it's where you recover and you rest, and there's no phone, there's no distraction. And I feel like from the outside looking in, I've surfed a couple of times, I've caught a few waves, and it's magical. But I think it's the magic of the moments as well, where you're just sitting and waiting, and you're forced to just ponder and look around and see the birds and not be so disconnected through these devices that we're told have made us more social and more connected, but in so many ways feel like we're more disconnected than we've ever been before. So maybe the solution to everything that's going on is we just need people out here in the jungle surfing. We could probably figure it all out, right?
Yeah. It's crazy how it demands presence like that.
Yes.
And I feel like through our day-to-day with the phones and people and stuff, and even if you're not doing anything unhealthy, you're just working, your mind is occupied all the time.
All the time.
But when you are in the water and you're so present, it actually gives your mind time to just think in whichever direction that you want to think in. And I find myself feeling a lot more creative when I get out of the water after surfing. And it's really the only sport that I have found that does that, other than Jiu Jitsu, because Jiu Jitsu also demands presence as well, and you're away from your phone. But being in the water like that, it's like your mind starts thinking in different directions that I'd never find myself thinking when I'm just in the day-to-day.
Yeah. Well, I think also, like you said, it's perhaps the most profound way to connect back to nature. And you had that little tidbit in there, which I fully agree with. That reminds you that you are an extension of nature. You are part of it. So you're almost tapping into the essence of Gaia herself, Mother Nature, consciousness. So you're imbibed with this creative, powerful scurry, calm. It's everything, right? I'm sure you've been in some surf where it's a bit gnarly too, right? Like the waves are particularly big, or there's a shallow coral underneath you, and you're like, I gotta really focus here. Similar to jujitsu, you know, when somebody's got a hold of your collar, you're like, if I don't pay very close attention now, I could go to sleep and be unconscious. And in that moment, you're not worried about taxes. You're not worried about next month's income. You're not worried about the drama that's going on in your family. You're just like in the moment. And I know it's so trite and cliche, but the moment is where life happens. You know, it's always now. And I think everybody needs to find that thing. Some people aren't as blessed to maybe have the ocean. Thankfully now, people are almost certainly, wherever they live, blessed to be able to find a jiu-jitsu gym, which is very similar. But even if it's a meditative practice, or it's just listening to nature or playing music, I think being able to find that calm is an antidote to what we're experiencing as people, this hyper disconnectedness that we're all going through. But I really want to get your take on this pipeline of surfing and jiu-jitsu, because they seem to dance together really well. I know so many people that do both, and not everybody that surfs does jiu-jitsu and vice versa. But it's very common that people that get into surfing also seem to find themselves on the mats too, and vice versa. Even though they seem so different. You know, one's in the water on a board and it's just you, another one's in a gym on mats with another person. What are some of the parallels between surfing and jiu-jitsu?
So for me, I think we are like the opposites, because she's a really good surfer, and she started doing jiu-jitsu when she was really good at surfing. I'm not good in jiu-jitsu, but I was more experienced in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So, and then I started surfing. So I would say for me, surf give me that same connection, like being present, like you say, like that moment where you're just there and your brain just are happy. It's just like pure happiness. It's no problems at all, right? And jiu-jitsu give me that in the sitting. I can go there, I can train, and I can just be focused and, you know, like really enjoy that. The community of jiu-jitsu is something I really like as well.
Yeah.
All the people around, it's like really nice community to support. When I moved here and I started surfing, I find myself in that same spot, like, oh, this is so nice, like being here and just being again like a white belt, you know, like this mentality of being a beginner again. Like, okay, I need to surrender. I need to start like learning, building like my ego, put it down. Like, yeah, you can be good at jiu-jitsu, but you are really bad in surf. And all these people like doing crazy things surfing, it's like, oh, I want to do this. And then the same, the community there surfing, when you start talking with the people, the locals, everybody's happy, everybody's having a good time, you know. So, and like you said, the connection with nature there is something like, it's not the same jiu-jitsu, because you are just there with the ocean and the sunsets and the sun and everything. I was like, okay, this is so beautiful. And the same is, it's hard. And when you are doing something hard and you start getting better, you feel, okay, I'm working hard. I'm doing something and I'm getting better at. So that gives you that extra energy to go and drive for it, right?
Yeah.
I feel jiu-jitsu and surf, when you do both, you can really have a lot of like similitudes. You're like, okay, it's something like hard, but at the same time you can enjoy it and have fun and love. Like when you're rolling with a good partner, you can have fun with them. So you feel like, even though it's a risk, you are having a good time, right? So that's for me.
I saw our mutual friend, Paulie in the jungle. He was on the podcast last week. And I asked him how the surf was. He was coming out of the beach of Dominical, and he said, the surf was kind of whack today, but he said a bad day of surfing is still a good day. Yeah. And I feel like it's similar. I always had that. That was my lifeline with jiu-jitsu. I could have had the shittiest day, but I could go and get strangled by my friends in the gym at night. And I was like, oh, it's a good day now. You know, there's something about that. So Charli, for you, you're an athlete, right? You've been competing to a high level in both surfing and snowboarding for a long time. Have you had that beginner's mind to try new things, or is it like very humbling to be, you know, an elite performer in some things and then try something so out of your niche, you know, get off the boards and get into the mats? What was the journey into jiu-jitsu like for you?
That's been a crazy experience. So I started jiu-jitsu since I met Ernesto, and he introduced me to the sport and to jungle mat and things. And having so many years of experience in surfing and snowboarding, but more than anything surfing, it's like you have so many years doing it. You're still always learning in those sports. I mean, that's like probably one of my favorite things about it is like you never fully master it. Like you can learn forever. But I had definitely kind of lost the beginner's mindset in those sports because I had so many years doing them, and I'm so comfortable doing them now. But I remember having that mindset when I first started, like it was yesterday, but I definitely wasn't experiencing that every time I get in the water at this point. And so going back to that beginner's mindset and the beginner's experience with jiu-jitsu was crazy. And it was like such a reminder because I remembered feeling that way in surfing and in snowboarding. And it's intimidating and it's very different. And I never expected myself, like, since I'm so into surfing and I spend so much time surfing, I never expected that at my age that I would start another sport and love it as much as I do. And the beginner's mindset is definitely something that like Ernesto was saying, you have to like let go of the ego and realize that you're the beginner and realize that you're kind of going to get your butt kicked in there quite a bit in the beginning. And it's fun though. And it's like more than anything, it's been a really good like personal development challenge for me to be brought back to that mindset again. And I think more than anything, that's the reason that I keep going to jiu-jitsu is because I love that humbling experience and being like reminded of being a beginner and learning again. And I even feel like that mindset I've been able to reapply to surfing. Like it's almost opened like my eyes to surfing again in a new way of like, okay, like I always know that there's more to learn, but that feeling is more present now. And so I feel like that kind of mental aspect that I've learned from jiu-jitsu has really translated over into my surfing. A lot of other things as well too. I mean, this is a little bit different topic, but with jiu-jitsu, like I think the number one thing I've noticed that has helped my surfing is with surfing, I really like big waves. Like that's like my thing in surfing is looking for bigger swells and like the adrenaline rush, total adrenaline junkie. Like I like to feel scared. But there's always like the aspect of controlling your breath and controlling your mind and like staying calm to be able to safely put yourself in those conditions. And I feel like kind of having that same feeling in jiu-jitsu and really like learning to control your breath and like you're rolling with another person. They have their own brain. Like to me, it's way more unpredictable than the surf, even in bigger conditions. And so applying those lessons to surfing bigger waves, I feel like has been my biggest takeaway from jiu-jitsu that's crossed over with surfing, because I find myself now when I'm surfing bigger waves, like way more relaxed. Like my breathing's more under control. My mentality's more under control because it's Mother Nature, but there's not like another human with its own brain and you don't know what's going to happen, you know? And so, I love it. It's been really, really interesting learning curve through that.
Yeah. The composure that jiu-jitsu teaches you is second to none, I think, because especially when you're getting started and you're just getting squashed and you can't breathe and you're like, what's happening? They've got a hold of my feet and my arm and my neck. And you have no choice but to regulate. Otherwise you panic, first you panic tap because you can't breathe. I think that level of composure absolutely comes with you off the mats. It's interesting to hear you say it also goes with you into the ocean. It gives you a different level of things. And I attribute a lot of my personal development to jiu-jitsu in the sense that it's given me this capacity to stay grounded in otherwise like intensely stressful situations, because if you train for it in the gym, when it finds you in life, it's just a little more like, okay, like tranquilo, we're just like fist bump in for another round kind of thing, So I think that's really cool. You've always competed. Do you see yourself ever trying to compete in jiu-jitsu? Would you like to actually test it in the competition floor aspect as well?
Yeah, I would definitely like to try it out. I haven't competed yet.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I'll be ready to try it this year, but we'll see. But my mindset going into it is very different than my mindset was going into competing in surfing. My mindset competing in surfing was very intense and very much like I had super specific goals and very specific things I wanted to accomplish. And maybe it's because I'm a little older now and I've already experienced that with surfing, but my mindset feels very different with the idea of competing in jiu-jitsu, because it could also be because I'm such a beginner still.
Yeah.
I've been doing it just for 1 year now. So in the world of jiu-jitsu, that's very new. But my mindset competing in jiu-jitsu when the time comes, I definitely want to do it, is more like just for the experience, just to see how it feels. And plus it's nice to set a new goal again, kind of a new competitive goal. Just my goal this time is just to try it, to just live that experience. And so we'll try it hopefully sometime soon.
What's the scene like here for jiu-jitsu, Ernesto? How how much have you been able to pour back into the community and make it something that's a bit more part of the scene with Jungle Mat? And were you training here before, or did you have to build it and they will come kind of thing?
Okay, so yeah, when I was living, I started jiu-jitsu in San Jose. I would say almost 9 years ago. But yeah, I was working in San Jose. My whole life was there. And in COVID time, when I start surfing, I start coming down, I take the decision, like, I'm gonna live there. My first goal, it wasn't not open a jiu-jitsu academy. It was like, okay, this is more a tourist place. We can do some cabins, Airbnb things, and I can still live in the city because my job was there. But then when I said, like, oh no, I'm gonna move there, I was surfing, but I'm gonna miss jiu-jitsu. It was jiu-jitsu academies around, like, even close. So it's like, okay. At that moment, I was a blue belt. I would just get the purple belt like 6 months before moving.
Yeah.
So my idea was like, I really want to keep doing jiu-jitsu because I know how that works for my brain, my soul, body. So I was like, I want to keep training. But in life, sometimes you choose some journeys. Sometimes the journey shows you. I feel like I'm here. It's something greater than me. Like that, I'm here, and the universe put me here for a reason. So when I came, it's like, okay, let's open a jiu-jitsu academy so we can keep training. And one of my teachers can come like every 2 weeks. I'm a purple belt. I can teach the white belt. No one here was like, oh, we explain it.
Yeah.
And then it's hard. Like, it sounds cliche, but when you do something with love and passion, everything start working. And it's hard time for sure. Like, open a new business, moving, quit my job, ask for a loan to the bank.
Yeah.
There's all the things, but they put the correct people on my path. Like, I met like Jorge, who's helping us out today. One of my best friends here. He helped me from day one. I met Anik. I met a lot of people. Like even some people did donation for the academy. Like, you see, like, okay, this is the correct thing to do because universe is really helping me. Sometimes I'm stressful and it's like, oh, is it not working? I need to maybe do another thing. And just next day, somebody calls, you need this? Okay, I'm here for you.
Wow.
Okay, let's keep going. And since we opened 3 years ago, the growing is just every month is better. We have like more than 50 kids. We have like 40 adults. We have a lot of girls now. Really, I'm really happy to what is happening here, the community around. We have a lot of people from all part of the world, like expats, Costa Ricans. So yeah, it's just a blessing. Yeah. So I'm like really, really grateful to be here and be part of this.
I think that life supports that which supports life. Like, if you create something that is energy gaining for people that they love, and it's in the essence of giving back something that is special, that the universe conspires to help you. And it's not always easy. It's not like a silver platter that's like, oh, here you go, everything's going to be easy. But it's asking you, like, how much do you value this thing? How much do you care? How much are you willing to fight for it? And it's so synonymous with jiu-jitsu because that's probably where the gains are made when you're very tired and you go out for that extra round, or you're getting your ass beat in a competition and you're down a few points and you find something to keep pushing and find it and have the breakthrough. So kudos to you, man, for keeping pushing, because I saw the gym before we came here. We toured the gym and it's an amazing environment. Like, this is, when I think of a dream gym, it's something like that. It's really special what you've created. So when you guys started dating and you're thinking about these two worlds, the surfing and the jiu-jitsu, where did this idea come from of like merging these into something like retreats and experiences for people? Because we just toured this property here and you've got 10 rooms, just amazing features. The ocean is right here. You can zip down. The gym is right there. So it's obviously the environment is perfect for it. Was it something that came up naturally? Was it something that was like a divine inspiration? Like, oh, we could create something here. Tell me about the journey a little bit of what you're thinking for the future of retreats and integrating all of this.
You want to start?
Sure. Well, he has already hosted several retreats. And so he was hosting retreats that included a few surf lessons just to take advantage of our environment, but mostly focused on jiu-jitsu. And so, in our day-to-day lives, we kind of go back and forth between jiu-jitsu and surfing all the time. Like, with my surfing background, I help him with surfing, and with his jiu-jitsu background, he helps me with jiu-jitsu. And that's worked so well for us, even within our relationship, being able to share that as a couple, and in each of us bringing kind of our own activity to the table and helping each other with it has been like so bonding and so beautiful that we kind of came up with the idea of what if we did, since you already have the retreat experience, what if we found a way to really do a retreat that was equal surf and jiu-jitsu in a way that they help each other and combine it and make the whole retreat about surfing and jiu-jitsu and the way that they work together. And then of course, just, living in the area and growing up, both of us like in Costa Rica, and it's very easy for us to incorporate things like taking people to the farmers market or to another beautiful waterfall and connecting them with nature and a few other aspects besides just surfing. And so it all just kind of came together that way, but that's kind of where our idea originated from.
Yeah.
And I think it's, like when you're enjoying the life pure, like with no intention of how I can do more money, or just like, I just want to share like what I really like. And I remember, I guess we were in Pavón surfing, so I took some pieces of tatami so we can go surf. And in the afternoon, we can do a little roll. I can teach you something. So we were there, like just sitting, looking at the ocean. I said, this is just perfect, and why we can just bring people and we can surf and roll.
Yeah.
That was the idea, surf and roll, the camp with the retreat. And it was just like something like the same, like the universe said, like, okay, this is meant to be. And to share, like Charli was saying, having a couple like practice the same than you was too easy, just to bring all these ideas put together, like the support each other, even like how I admire her, like when she's surfing and she's doing all these crazy things, like, oh wow. Yeah. Then we were surfing, the ocean is too big. It's like, okay, good luck. And do some videos, we can go, those are things, and that's it. So it's good. It's good to have this, balance.
Yeah.
And was something just happened. And this is gonna be the first year. Actually, it's gonna be surf and roll in May.
Wow,
it's gonna be the first one.
It's exciting. I might want to come. I feel like I'm already sad that I'm going home in 2 days. I'm trying to scheme my way back in. I'm like, maybe I need to come for a surf and roll camp. Get back into my lost love of jiu-jitsu. It's been a while since I had a regular practice, and like I said, all my friends now are trying to tell me that I've got to become a surf junkie. So I might take you up on that. You both teased something. Also, how this is so cool in a relationship and a partnership too. Like when I was thinking of this, the balance between you two, I almost thought of like these conflicting but complementary opposite elements. Like Charli, you're the ocean, you're the water, you're the sea, and Ernesto, you're like the land and the fire and the masculine. How much of like these complementary opposites do you think is contributing to a successful relationship too? Does that resonate at all, these complementary opposites?
Well, for you?
I mean, I would say so, absolutely. Because number one, there's no competition, because we're both bringing such different elements in. It's like there's no feeling of competing with each other. It's like he admires me for what I bring to the table, and I admire him for what he brings to the table. And then also, of course, just as a woman, I love his like grounded and also fiery side, because it really like allows me to just relax into my feminine side. Yeah. And so like it's a really good balance. I mean, I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, for me it was kind of the same. She brings me that extra energy. I'm kind of, like you say, grounded. I like the land, but she's always like trying something new, risking more than me. So she pushed me like, okay, we can go this extra mile. It's like, oh, okay, let's do it. And I can really see how that brings me more alive.
Yeah.
Try new things. So yeah, it's just a perfect combination. Like you say, bringing these two elements together, and we're really happy what we're making here and building.
How do you integrate them, like tactically? The surfing and the jiu-jitsu, is that something you can do daily? Do you try and get out and surf every day and do jiu-jitsu most days of the week, like a morning in the ocean and the afternoon on the mats? Does it work well that way?
Oh yeah, pretty much, or vice versa.
Yeah.
It depends, of course, of like the condition of the ocean and the tide and the swells. But sometimes we wake up, go 6 a.m. to surf, and we go to 8 a.m. to jiu-jitsu. And sometimes it's crazy because it's like, okay, you're gonna be tired, but when you finish surfing, you feel like, oh, I can do whatever.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of energy, And it's like I just go jiu-jitsu sometimes to teach the 8 a.m. And my students told me, "Do you go surf? Because you look happier and more energy."
Yeah.
Like, I will surf. Like that bringing more life, Even like it's tired.
Yeah, I've always been interested by that. I think the best time to work out or whatever practice it is, whether it's surfing, yoga, going to the gym, the best time to do it is when you don't feel like doing it, when you're tired, because it gives you energy. And it seems counterproductive because you've got to expend a lot of energy to do it. But what it gives you back is so much more. It's because it's a labor of love. And I think love is the most abundant fuel on the planet. So if you love what you do, and it probably is never a chore to, oh, I've got to go surf today, poor me, you know, it's very different. You're like, oh, now we can conquer the world. So that's really cool. Yeah. What do you do when you think about like just staying as healthy as you can? You said you want to surf basically until your body fails you. And I hope that is when you're 100 years old, you're still out there catching waves. We talked about the importance of this environment and the abundance of fresh food and the nature and things like that. But what do you do also outside of this? How do you think about things like diet and your natural environments? What are some of your practices that you really lean on the daily to stay as healthy as you possibly can?
Okay, for me, you know, on the process of living, and you change every year and you learn from books or from these kind of conversations. What something resonate a lot with me is like, I see human as the three elements, which is mind, you know, the body and the spiritual. Could be a religion, could be any practice you follow. So in all these three, I try to bring different habits, you know, like it doesn't matter if you surf, it doesn't matter if you do it, it could be any martial art, you know. At the end, it's like something to bring you on your own body, the physical body, like work out your body. Something good for your mind, like breathing, meditation, being in nature, just contemplation. But sometimes I just go without my cell phone, just sitting with a coffee and just see the birds, listen to the nature. It's like, okay, it's just something like my soul needs, right? So I just try to, like you said, I just try to have the local food, just try to be around the nature, just try to do exercise, try to meditate. For me, if I work these three elements of my human body, I feel like, okay, everything is in balance. Like I remember like when I was working too much and maybe not eating well or something, it's like, this is wrong. I mean, why am I working so much to get more money? And what am I gonna do with that money?
Yeah.
I lose my health, right? So just try to find that balance, which is something for me martial arts give you, because you have to work your body when you're doing the jiu-jitsu. You need to work on your mind, your ego. And still the martial art gives you that the spiritual part when you just have to work inside you and your issues, right? So I think surf is kind of the same. You have to work there like your mind, because if you are not like focused and calm, you're gonna have a bad time in the ocean. Waves. And for me, nature is kind of my shorts. When I go there, I really try to feel like, okay, yeah, I'm part of nature. It's not separate. And when I go to the cities, like you were talking about, like all this change. We went to New York like 2 or 3 months ago, and when I was there, I was like, oh, this is how it felt. Like people were like so respectful.
Yeah.
I asked for directions, and people like want to fight with me. Oh, I just need to go that place. I don't know how to get there.
Yeah.
And I was like, angry on me. It's like, oh, okay. And then I came back. It's like, oh,
yeah.
That's how my nervous system just go. And sometimes people are like autopilot. Like you just born there and you see all these television things and you think like this is the normal life we're looking for. But when you have these experiences, like, okay, it's another way to live. And when that makes a lot of sense, it's like, okay, I feel way better just to, like you say, being here, less income, but more life.
Ah, beautiful. Well said. Yeah, well said. What about you, Charli? What are some of your key things that you think about or try and implement?
Well, honestly, I couldn't agree more with what he's saying about, you know, there's the physical body, there's your mentality, and then there's the spiritual side. And that's what I love about surfing, is because it links you with all three. And so does Jiu Jitsu. And so I do think that it's, you know, it's something really important to me to work on, like my mentality and my mindset every single day, work on the spiritual side of things every single day. Cause I feel like even if you are training at your top and your nutrition is at your top, if your mind is not in the right place, like something's going to crash.
Yep.
And sometimes if your mind's not in the right place, your body's what crashes. And so I feel like that balance is super important. But yeah, apart from that, I feel like nutrition is a key element, maybe even, you know, it goes hand in hand with exercise, but personally, I would even put it above that. It's the way you're fueling your body, especially if you want to be doing so much physical activity, like surfing every day, Jiu Jitsu every day.
Yeah.
I lift weights 5 days a week because I love it. It makes me feel really good, but also for injury prevention so that I can do these other types of sports. And so it's demanding a lot on my body. And if I'm not eating adequately and in a healthy way and resting adequately, and then also keeping my mind at peace the same way, everything starts to fall apart.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there's so much on the internet now and so many different opinions of what's right and what's wrong and like how exactly you should be doing things. But I feel like if you can just find something that incorporates physical activity, something that incorporates, you know, keeping your mind sound, and then something spiritual, and just find a way to just be as consistent as possible, like whatever way works best for you is going to take people the long run.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I resonate a lot with what you both said about the spiritual side of things. I've often said, for me at least, God speaks loudest in nature. Like, yeah. I feel that connection to the divine way more than when I'm out in nature, whether it's by the ocean or sitting in the jungle. Even if I'm inside praying or meditating, I can get there, but it's just like, it's like the fast track to it is to like immerse yourself in the church of nature. I think that's really wonderful. But you travel a lot now. I want to transition a little bit into this new venture that you've got, the white belt mentality, again, going from not just being out there on the surf, but actually commentating in surf. So I'm curious about what that's been like to, you know, step behind the mic and commentate, and how that journey's been. But also this, because it's making you travel so much for work, how do you also stay grounded with all of that traveling? Because it's one of the things that can pull you out of your routines, right?
Yeah.
So what's that been like? How have you been able to keep a hold of things, or is it difficult? Are you learning? What's the journey been like on that?
It's been a wild ride for sure, but I really love it. And I think the thing that there's a lot of moving around. Like sometimes I'm gone for 1 week, sometimes I'm gone for 2 or 3 or 4, and sometimes I'll leave for a week and bounce back for a few days and leave again. And so it is very hard to maintain a routine. But the good news is, with my work and the places that I'm going to surf destinations. Yeah. So I always travel with my own boards so that I at least like feel comfortable on my own board and stuff. And before work every morning, unless we start super early, like at 6, which doesn't happen that often, I can get a surf in before I start work. I can get a surf in after work. And then we're traveling a lot of the time through Central and South America. So I have great access to healthy food as I'm traveling. And so it's a lot of moving around, but the fact that I can bring my surfboards with me and still continue doing the thing that I do every day helps a whole lot. Yep. I also take like 30 minutes and put some headphones on every night and listen to music and stretch, just to kind of like move my muscles a little bit after sitting all day, or whether I was surfing and stuff. And so you can find, even when you're traveling, like little things that you can do to stick with your routine, even if I didn't get to surf that day and I can just listen to music and stretch for 30 minutes in the evening, kind of brings me back into my body. And so it is hard when you're traveling, but you can always find like ways to still ground yourself and keep your body feeling good, even when you're bouncing around all the time. Yeah,
I think it's very important to have just like one really strong anchor. It's really cool that you've made your anchor surfing, and your work has taken you there, which is awesome. But for me, even just being out here, it's a lot easier when the scenery is so beautiful. But if at least nothing else, I need to move my body. You know, I need to elevate my heart rate a little bit and sweat. And I can do that wherever I am. I could even do that in a hotel room in New York City, because I could always, you know, torture myself with some burpees. And I don't want to do it, but I know if I do it, I'm going to feel a lot better afterwards. But yeah, it's a lot nicer when you can do it on the beach. That's for sure.
Yeah.
What's the surf commentary gig been like? What's that like? How you know, commentating on the world's best surf? It wasn't your background, right? You kind of got pulled into it through a friend, and how are you enjoying that journey?
Yeah, I mean, it was something that I never really expected that I would be doing, and I love it so much. It's my favorite job that I've ever had. And yeah, I competed in the national tour of surfing for many years, and a good friend of mine was putting together a webcast for the national tour a couple years ago, and she asked me about it. She was like, "Do you want to commentate?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And so she explained it to me. And I was like, okay, I'll try it at one event. And the first event was actually one of the stops of the national tour here in Dominical at my home surf break. And I commentated it, and I loved it. It was amazing. So I did the rest of the tour from there, and then it just kind of grew and grew. I started working bigger tours, and now I'm working the LS Global Tour, and I'm just kind of flowing with it. It was kind of one of those jobs that like I've had to work really hard at to get better, but at the same time, the opportunity was kind of came to me. Like Ernesto was saying, that like sometimes paths choose you. I definitely didn't choose that path. It kind of just like came to me, and I decided to make the most of it and roll with it and see how far I can take it. And I'm loving it, but it's a very tiring job with the travel. And then, you know, I'm speaking in my second language and I'm looking at a screen, and it's very like stimulating for the brain. And so it's very tiring, but at the same time, it's the most rewarding job that I've ever had, because I'm commentating for like 20 minutes at a time, and then I will run out of the booth and I'll go interview the winner, and then I'll go back into the booth, commentate the rest of the next heat, and then go interview the winner again. And like I'm seeing so much action that's happening, and it's so exciting because I love surfing so much, and the level of surfing keeps raising. But my favorite thing about it is interviewing the athletes, especially the kids, after they win a heat, because you know that every single athlete that's there has worked so hard for that specific moment. And I get to talk to them right after they accomplished it, especially like towards the end of the event. And now I'm interviewing not only the heat winners, but the contest winners.
Wow.
And being able to share like 2 or 3 minutes with them like immediately after they've just accomplished that is like so inspiring. And like that I have the privilege to ask them questions that really connects them with the audience. It's not just like, oh, look what you did, how you feel. It's more like, what did it take for you to get here?
Yeah.
And I kind of have the power to be able to translate that to the audience and like also experience that moment with the athlete. And it's like definitely the most rewarding thing that I've ever done. Yeah.
Well, you probably get to almost like relive your surf history too, right? Because you've probably been in those big moments. I don't know your, level of success or how big the competitions you won, but just like when you've worked so hard for something and you finally have it, it's the best feeling in the world. And now you get to, because you've got that experience, and now you can use this other side of the gift. It's really special. It's very cool.
Oh, it's truly special, especially because like I know what they're feeling in that moment because I've been there, especially with the younger kids. Like I know the pressure that they have on them, how hard they're training, like that they're basically having to devote their entire life to those moments. And so like being able to feel that with them is like, it's just incredible.
Yeah. You don't accidentally become the best in the world, at that given moment. It's a lot of sacrifice. And as much as we can say it's, a beautiful sacrifice and you're out in the ocean, still enormous amounts of dedication, hard work, discipline, day after day after day. And we love that, right? I think why people keep coming back to Jiu Jitsu, because it's a never ending game. I know we have the belt system, and black belt technically is the end of the game, but not really. Black belt is just the beginning of the white belt, black belt game, because now you're like, oh, there's levels to the black belt game. You recently rolled with some mutual friends like Colin, we talked about off air, and you went to some of the best gyms in America, and they will have like competition white belts that you're like, this is a white belt? Like it's breaking my brain. To just be in the presence of people that have accomplished such a high level like that it's very special. Because I think what it does for us also is give us permission that like we can do awesome things too. What you realize, I think, a lot about really high performers is they're not actually special in the sense that what they've accomplished is very special, but they're just a regular person like you and I that just spent an enormous amount of time dedicating themselves to one craft. And that's very inspirational. What's your goals, Ernesto, with jiu-jitsu? Like how do you want to see your own personal journey with it evolve? Is the goal to just get to the black belt, become the best instructor that you can be? Do you have competition goals? Is your goal mostly focused on jungle mat and growth and giving back to the community? Is it a bit of everything?
Yeah, just to add something, like you said, like nobody can become good in something just by coincidence. I think that's something good in jiu-jitsu, then jiu-jitsu and surf is like, it's the hard work, and hard work is going to beat the talent. Some people is like talent and they say, okay, I'm good at it. But if you don't put the time and the effort, you are not becoming something good, right? So for me, jiu-jitsu is that, like you say, like it's a path, like it's never ending. it's like the same than being better, being better in whatever you do. Like it's a no ending process. So it's not destination, so you have to do the right.
Yeah.
It's not like, okay, when I'm gonna be that good, I'm gonna be happy. I mean, you're not gonna be that good. When you're gonna get there, you can be better than that.
Yeah.
You can be better than that.
Yeah.
So for me, my academy is just like kind of like extension of myself as well. Like I try to put there like my time, my love, my energy, and like we were talking about like how these places bring or attract the same energy and the same people. Is like the people to come here is like they're kind of looking for the same than you, so it's easy to connect. For me, Jungle Mat is baby, which maybe when I'm a star wasn't an idea, but it's just going. They had their own kind of soul, right? So now kids give me. I never worked with kids since I moved here, and I started working with kids, and I realized like I kind of good with kids, and they like
yeah,
me.
yeah.
So I just connect with maybe my inner child. So I play with them. We have fun, but at the same time, I'm a teacher, so I give them the values and the rules they have to follow. So I will say my purpose and my biggest is the kids now. I really want to grow that project and see how they change for like every month, like how they be better, they even better kids, how they behave better. So that made me the whole thing. It's that kind of gains. It's not like money, but give you something extra, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I want to keep just growing with the kids and even the adults, of course, like just keep trying to bring the jiu-jitsu life to other people. For me, it's something like if you want to come, I'm not like offering like, hey, everybody have to do jiu-jitsu. Maybe some people don't like it, but if you want to try it and you go like a good academy with a good teacher and good environment, you will see it's a really good for your mind, your body, and your soul, and you will find a really nice community around. So yeah, keep growing the kids program for me is one of my biggest goal, and the retreats is something like it's just like fun, like just bringing like when I started Jungle Mat, not even my wildest dreams, I felt like I can bring like Shangi Ribeiro, Majid, Bruno Malpasini is coming this year. Like,
wow,
I was like, how I can have access to these guys? It's like no, like not in my mind, and then realizing like universe said like you're doing the correct things. This is gonna happen.
Yeah,
and all these puzzles start just fitting in place. So yeah, just having this retreat is like sharing with the people of Uvita, like, guys, this is like 10 times world champion in the world, and they're coming just to join with us and have some fun. So that share like knowledge and passion and love just made me do it just for fun.
Yeah, it's very special. I don't think it would require too much twisting of anybody's arm to get them to bring their gifts to this amazing experience because it's just so special. But similarly to this podcasting journey that I've been on, it's that labor of love thing again. I just had to trust when you start, nobody's really going to want to be on the show because the show doesn't have anything yet. There's no audience. There's nothing. There's just this guy that has this idea of I want to talk to really cool people doing cool things. But as you grow, now you see that random DM and you're like, wow, I can sit with this person. I've sat with some of my, childhood heroes from MMA. I had George St. Pierre on the podcast and some of the best jiu-jitsu guys. And it's just like, it just happens, these doors keep unlocking. And again, I think it's a testament to just pouring into something with your entire being and the universe will support you. And I think it's very special. But it's really cool to see you light up when you talk about the kids class and that program, because I think it's hard for me to think of anything that could be better for kids to get involved in than jiu-jitsu, just because of the community that it builds and the respect that it teaches them. There's something that's really cool about the traditions and the honoring of the hierarchy and knowing where you stand in that hierarchy. Not that anybody's better than anybody else, but there's a linear path. Like you're a white belt, you're new, it's scary, and you've got to earn your chops. And that every black belt in a gym was once a white belt. And because of that, they know the journey that you're on, and they're so kind and they're so humble. And coming from a jiu-jitsu and MMA background, I think from the outside looking in, people would be like, oh, these scary people that fight for fun, they're the like mean people, but they're the kindest, most gentlest people because there's nothing to prove anymore. They fight every day for fun in the gym. So when they go out into the world, they don't want to fight. They just want to hug and they want to bro out with everybody. And I think it's so good for that, but I do think it's very important for the masculine too. And this is what I wanted to talk about, each of your perspectives. I'll start with you, about how important it is for men to have something that is physical and competition derived. And I'm curious what your journey has been like on that, like to have something to test that fire a little bit, and what you've seen in the community, like getting people back into healthy combat. Do you think that's important for people and for men in particular?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think one of my teachers told me that, like, energy, you cannot create it or destroy it, right? So you can just use it. When you are fighting, I think it's the time where your energy just go up, the cortisol, the adrenaline. You can do crazy things when you are like fighting.
Yeah.
If you are able to get that energy and just channel with your body and don't get crazy, that give you like an extra, like a superpower. Like you say, like you go outside, I mean, the street, you don't want to fight. And if somebody pull the car next to you and something happens, it's like, this is no problem, whatever. So I think to being on this kind of fighting situation or like these activities, that brings a lot of value. Not even just for men, for women, of course, as well. But yeah, for men, because we have all this drive to do these kind of things, that works a lot to balance like this positive masculine.
Yes.
It's kind of popular, the phrase. But even in the West, I think we miss this conservative Japanese or Chinese tradition. Like they do martial arts since they are a kid. You go in a classroom in Japan, maybe it's way like it. So when you go since kid to how to manage this energy, you just become a better person.
Yeah.
You just are more calm, and you don't need to prove, like you said, you don't need to prove anything. It just you can channel that energy and just be more balanced.
Yeah.
This yin and yang thing, right?
Yeah, beautiful. Charli, from your perspective, I think it's probably fair to say that it probably feels a little more intimidating for a woman to step into a male-dominated space. It's very physical. You might have to roll with men. They're physically bigger and scary and hairy and all of that stuff. How important do you think? Well, what's it been like for you, firstly, to learn to fight, for want of a better word? How has it impacted your level of confidence? And what would you say to a woman that is maybe sitting on the fence and being like, oh, it sounds cool, I don't know if I'd like it though?
Well, I know it's intimidating to go in there. It's definitely intimidating to start, and that's probably the reason that I never really am. It's definitely part of the reason that I never imagined myself like starting martial arts. When I was so into surfing, and it's a whole nother path to go into martial arts, but because of that, it can be intimidating, especially. But I think in life that man or woman, we're intimidated of the things that we just don't know.
Yeah.
We're intimidated of what's new. So I think it was more that than anything. And so if something's new and you've never done it before, you can make assumptions about it, right? And so I think that like women being intimidated by starting martial arts is basically just assumptions. You're assuming that like the men could be aggressive or too harsh with you or something like that. And so I kind of had to take any assumptions that I had and just get rid of them or put them to the side and just try and go into that first class with a fresh mind and an open perspective. And it totally took me by surprise, because not just the women, and there's a lot of women doing it, but not just the women, but even more so the men are so inviting and gentle, because they want to share their sport with everybody. It's a beautiful community because everybody wants the new people to enjoy it. And kind of how you were talking about earlier, even the black belts have been white belts before. They know what you're feeling, especially like it's really cool to meet other women that are black belts or brown belts or higher ranks, because they really understand it.
Yeah. And
everybody kind of holds your hand through it. It's actually like the most inviting environment that I've ever been in, even way more so than surfing. There's more of a competitive level in surfing when you're new, but jiu-jitsu was like the whole community felt like it wants to take my hand and bring me in.
Yeah.
And especially like when you first start, because in the very beginning with jiu-jitsu, you're mostly just learning some techniques. You're not really getting in there and like rolling with people right in the beginning. So it helps a little bit to learn a little bit of technique first. And anyone that you roll with, they usually know you're a beginner, but if they don't, you just, before you roll with them, you're like, hey, I'm a beginner. And they're like, don't worry, we'll go easy. And they don't just go in there to like smash you. They're going in there to play with you. And so especially if you're with a higher ranked belt or someone that's larger than you or a man, almost always they're like, almost playing with you as you roll, and they let you figure out new ways to move your body and new things to try. And if it's very inviting, and it was like completely the opposite of anything that I expected. And so I would definitely encourage more women to try it, because it's also just made me feel more confidence. Not confidence in a way that you would expect. It's like not confidence where I walk down the street now and I'm like, I can fight, because I definitely can't, because after doing jiu-jitsu, I'm like, I cannot fight. It's more confidence of like, I can try new things.
That's it.
I have the confidence to go into something totally blind, not knowing what to expect. Like, it gives you just confidence in who you are as a person. And so I think that as a woman, it's been one of the most beneficial things that I have ever done for my character and personal development.
Wow, that's beautifully said, especially when you consider that you've done a lot of pretty radical shit as well. So that's really a testament to it. And I guess we said, you know, shameless pitch. If somebody is on the fence and curious, then just come to Surf and Roll, because you could introduce them beautifully to this way of life, right? Speaking of, you know, you're getting close here to having your first retreat, putting the finishing touches on this beautiful home. What is it that you would like people to say about an experience coming out here, sharing this experience with you, surfing, rolling, this land, this amazing food, these amazing people? What would you like people to say after they've spent a week in the jungle with you about their experience?
Well, for me, I would like to them to test how it's like living in the jungle and being able to surf and roll with other people, and like this energy and this when you just go for 1 week and just get out of your comfort zone and just get in a new place with, let's say, this high vibration of the energy of nature. Like you say, God speaks lower in nature. And you want them just to go back with a new mindset. Like, okay, I try something new. I know it's different ways to live life. I want them to just, because put it all together, like the way like nutrition, your mind and your soul being together and open to a new experience. Use all the time, even if you are experiencing jiu-jitsu, to roll with another person, a new person. It's just like a new experience, right? Energetic exchange. So just that experience and being able to go and surf and have this community, and it's just something like really I would love to share with people, and I want them to have the best experience as possible.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I want people to walk away from here feeling like rejuvenated, recharged, with a different mindset. I want them to, you know, maybe if the type of, you know, we're going to be getting people from all different walks of life here, but if somebody shows up that's working a job they don't like, or is in a situation that they don't like, or just something about their everyday life isn't making them happy, I want them to realize that it doesn't have to be that way, to come here and get a new perspective. And maybe it's the first time they try jiu-jitsu, or maybe it's the first time they try surfing, and just realize that like there's certain changes that you can make in life to just feel better. I just want people to come here and feel like they can make an improvement in their life. And then also too, just to share this beautiful place with people, because even if they don't make any changes in their life, to just know that this is here and it exists. And if anytime they need an escape, that they can come and have it. Yeah.
Not trying to gatekeep this little slice of heaven. You're like, there's abundance all around. Come and eat some Pura Vida. That would be nice. I've hosted a bunch of retreats, and I think one of the coolest things is the curriculums are awesome. Everything that you guys just said is really cool too, but it extends beyond that into this community and this family again, because I think it asks a certain kind of person to come and do something like this, to take a flight internationally, to get on a 4-hour bus, to go to the jungle with a bunch of strangers. Let's be honest, we don't know anybody. We're going to now then surf and wrestle with them and live with them and share food with them. So it's a reducing valve for the kind of person that will take on that kind of adventure. And because of that, people on retreat, they usually find their new best friend. I mean, we had one retreat where a couple was born from that retreat, and they now have a 1-year-old baby. Oh, like, wow. That's the magic of retreats. Aside from the amazing surf and the food and the memories, it's like the people that can become your family and your new best friends too. And I think that's another thing that has been so valuable for me about travel, because only a certain kind of person travels. And honestly, I wish more people would travel because I think it would open the mind more, but you've just got to take the good and the bad. And the kind of people that I meet traveling, being able to sit across from you, being able to meet all of these people that I've met in this short couple of weeks here, they're special people and they resonate with me because they're on a similar-ish journey. They're seeking truth. They're seeking mind, body, and soul wellness. They're seeking heaven on earth and they're finding it. And I think if you're willing to take a little bit of a risk, because it is, you know, it's a financial investment. It's a time investment. You've got to get time off work, potentially leave your family, go be with a bunch of people you don't know. But man, what's on the other side of that? Just like stepping in that jiu-jitsu gym for the same time where you're like, I'm really scared, but now I have the belief and confidence that I can do new things. And after that, anything is possible, right? Your whole life can take a completely different road, which is very cool. Last one before we bring this on into land, because you gave me a bar of your jungle soap, and I know you have bowl block too. So I'm really like, I love that because when we think about health, so often we do think about the food we put in our mouth, which is so important. It potentially like right up there with all of the other things, but what we put on our skin really matters too. So what were those ideas born out of? Was it just a gap in the market? You were out every day in the blazing sun, knowing that most sunscreens are full of some funky ingredients, create something natural, and similar with the jungle mat soap. Most soaps full of like alcohols and things like that, harsh on the body. Talk to me about just, you know, your more holistic side of wellness and creating healthier products too. How's that journey been going?
You would like to start?
Well, a lot of our products that we do put on our skin are toxic these days.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have really harsh chemicals in it. And, you know, our skin is our largest organ. And so everything that you put on your skin gets absorbed into your body and your body has to process it. And I was surfing every single day and putting sunscreen on sometimes 2 to 3 times a day. And I started to notice after, you know, 15 plus years of surfing, a little bit of damage on my skin from the sun. And so, and I also know that there's a lot of benefits. I'm into like really healthy eating. I follow mostly an animal-based diet. I'm also a sports nutritionist online. And so I get, you know, I go pretty deep down the rabbit hole of that stuff. And so there's a lot of benefits to tallow and putting beef tallow on your skin. And so I was like, what if I could create a sunscreen that's for surfers that doesn't just protect my skin, but can also heal it and nourish it at the same time.
Yeah.
So then I created my sunblock, which is Bull Block. And so it's based of tallow. That's like the biggest ingredient in it. And then I use a non-nano zinc oxide, organic cacao powder, organic coconut oil.
Amazing. And
just kind of created my own product to heal my skin and protect it at the same time, that just because I wanted a product like that.
Right.
And people like it. So started spreading it around.
Let's go. Get the Bull Block to the moon. I love that. Yeah.
I think it's kind of the same. And I will say I get inspiration from Charli on this one because Charli already had the Bull Block. And then the same, I was like in the academy, maybe just buying normal soaps from the supermarket. And I was like, I will like the people or my students use the same soap I will use on my body, right? So it's like, okay, I need to take care of my body and take care of my people, right? So we were looking for different soaps. Natural was going to be the best combination for, you know, in Jiu Jitsu is a lot of contact sports. Yes. It can be bacteria or something. So you need to have a really good one, but of course, natural. So I started like looking for the tea tree, eucalyptus and mint and all this. And I find people here like doing all organic.
Yeah.
I was okay, let's just made it up. And we were together and we just created a jungle soup. Like I was there a couple of months ago and everybody loved it. And yeah, it just protect your skin so you can have it before and after the class. And yeah, it's just like you said, like it's something I want to use it on me.
Yes.
And then I was like, okay, maybe I'm going to put it on the bathrooms or in the showers that my students can use it. And now it's people asking me for the jungle soap to take him home. It's like, okay,
that's so awesome, man. Yeah. And I think a lot of the best products come from a personal need first. It's like, I want this thing. Oh, this thing doesn't exist on maybe not the way I want it. And living in this abundance and being able to just pull from this nature and create something is awesome. I actually brought out with me a tallow-based sunscreen because usually, you know, you try and build your solar callus through the spring and, you know, just use sensible sun exposure. So wear a wide brim hat and cover up because I don't use conventional sunscreen. But coming from the dead of winter where there's no UV exposure and then coming out here where the UV index is like 12, I was like, okay, I need sunscreen. but you look around and most of it is just trash. So I found very, very similar products, actually. It's tallow-based, nano zinc. And it's just so cool that these companies exist now, because 5 years ago, you couldn't even find that stuff. So it shows that we're creating, there's a swell, there's a wave of not just the nutrition is where we all started, and then it got into the skincare world. And now we're talking about nervous system on the world stage, and we're talking about all of this stuff, and it's really cool. So I think, we could wrap this one up and, call it a day and get you back out to doing what you love. But thank you so much for having me at your home and for this conversation. It's been a pleasure to connect. And I hope that people listen to this and see this and watch this and think that I want a part of this. So if they do, where do they go to keep up to date with what you're doing? Like, what's the Instagram handles? What are the websites and stuff where they can follow you both and keep up to date with all the offerings?
So we have Jungle Mat, which is the Jiu Jitsu Academy here in Uvita. And then we have Fuego Verde retreats, with all the retreats is going to be there. And Surf and Roll, which is going to be like the main retreat we're going to host.
Beautiful.
Yep. So you guys can find us on Instagram like that. And then our personal accounts are Charli Meek and Ernesto Fallas.
Right on. What's the next trip, Charli? Where are you going next?
I'm actually not sure yet,
Okay.
Which is kind of crazy because I usually have my trips really planned out, but I'm sure in the next month or so I will end up going to commentate an event. I'm just not sure where yet. So I just kind of wait for them to call me. So we'll see. Probably somewhere in Central South America.
All right. So just buckle down and do some more surfing and rolling.
Yes.
That blue belt's coming soon, I think. I hope so. Thank you, guys. Much love. Pura Vida. We'll see you all next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, friends, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Radical Health Radio. We got a fresh new podcast for you every Wednesday. If you enjoyed the show, consider liking, subscribing, reviewing, and rating us on your podcast platform. It helps to spread this message of radical health. We'll see you next week.